Welcome, everyone. Welcome back to the YouTube channel for Wrestling with the Truth. It is your boy, Jay Myers, live and direct, and we do have a special guest for this Nightmare Reviews. BC, how you doing, buddy?
Hey, my friend, how's it going? Thank you very much for inviting me to come back on and do another Nightmare Reviews with you.
Yeah, I'm excited to. It's nice to go to do these reviews with another person, not just in my own head. So it's good. It's good because it's not a good place in my head. So
And boy, do we
uh,
have a nightmare to review right
boy,
now.
do we have some stuff. We're gonna leave. Well, I shouldn't say we're going to leave a lot of the commentary. We are not reviewing the post media scrum, so let's just throw that out
I
there. We
think
will,
I think we could do an entire episode on
we
that though,
could,
too.
which we will, which we
Yeah,
will.
yeah.
Probably a couple episodes on that, but we are just reviewing the actual card itself, which clearly was the undercard compared to the media scrum main event. But anyway, we'll
Exactly. We didn't realize that was gonna be the
we
main
didn't
event, but
realize
yeah.
that. Yeah, we didn't realize that, but we got a lot of matches here, so we'll try not to dilly dally as well. I will try not to dilly dally. We're gonna exclude all the pre-show stuff. I forget what they call it before, but
Uh,
basically the pre-show kickoff stuff. We're gonna exclude those four
0
matches. Just
hour?
be
Is that what it was
zero. I
called?
do
0.
think they call it 0 hour.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
We'll go
Mhm.
right into the main card, and don't shit on us for that. I know there was good matches and good people on the card, but it is what it is. There's already 14 effing matches on the main card, so let's
Well,
let's get it. Maybe not that many.
As Jim Cornette says, we would have been able to review Ishii a 20-minute slobber knocker of chopping.
Yeah, yeah, fair enough.
Ugh, alright,
Okay,
let's get into
so
this bad
we
boy.
have All Out emanating from Chicago, which is apparently AEW's home base now, I guess. And this pay per view will probably always emanate from Chicago. But yeah, we get into it with the casino ladder match. So give me your thoughts.
Oh, man. I took copious notes on this because,
I knew you
I'll
would.
be honest, I watched obviously commitments, life commitments, I wasn't able to
Yes.
watch live, but I did jump in and I caught it, the women's title match had just finished, so I was able to catch from there on, so I think Christian Cage versus Jungle Boy is where I started from, and then, I said, "Well, I'll check out the rest of the card a little later on so we can do this review." Excuse me. And then all the shitstorm happened with the media scrum and all the stuff that we're hearing about backstage. You know what? I know I've said this before, but I think I'm almost at the point where I'm done with AEW again, my friend. Like
Yeah.
after watching this and then all that stuff that happened, and I've said this, and you've said it too. CM Punk, you reap what you sow when you bring that guy into your organization. Look what's
Yeah.
happening right now. It's just an absolute poison to AEW. And you know what? Honestly, I've gone back and forth on this. So I did actually go back and watch the rest of the card so I could do this review. And part of me is almost thinking if they end up getting rid of Punk, I might actually start watching it again because I want to see what after that guy's out of there, what would actually flourish in this whole thing. But let's get into this ladder
Yeah.
match thing because
Yeah. There'll be more on that later.
yeah,
Spoiler alert.
yeah,
We'll get into that in a whole other show.
yeah. I just want to lay the groundwork. So
No,
if I
I think
seem a
it's
little bit
worthwhile.
if I seem a little bit terse with this
Ornery?
show,
Little ornery?
there's a reason why. There's a reason why. But the ladder match, the psychology in this ladder match, oh my dear lord, like
You
psychology,
do know that that is not a term that you can use for AEW, right? Psychology. That's not
dear lord
they don't
almighty.
acknowledge that.
Well, I'll tell you, even the
That's
announcers,
fake news.
even the announcers Taz and even Excalibur, they were questioning what the heck are they doing? Like, why are they doing these things? Like the whole that Roosh Andrade spot right at the beginning of the match where they stood in the ring and they had a clear path to the
Yeah.
poker chip, and they didn't go up the ladder. They just stood there waiting for this to set up this amazing spot that was going to happen that you could see was going to happen from a mile away. The one with the sunset flip power bomb of Steve Blackman onto the ladder, right? So that was
Steve Blackman?
that's what I like to call Wheeler Yuta. You know, it was
That is awesome.
I mean,
Okay, but like before that, can we just talk about the shittiness of this match and the rules? So
yeah,
while it was going on, like the buddies I was were like, "Oh, this is cool," and then we're gonna cash in later. It's like, nope, it's not a cash in situation. They're just getting a title, and they're like, "Oh, but then we could do the surprise." Nope, there's no surprise thing. Like And then in the match itself, anyone can win. The first two people can end the match within like 30 seconds. I was like,
I know.
how
I know.
dumb is that logic when you don't even need all the competitors in the match to be in the match for the match to end? I'm like, I thought it was a fucking mess to begin with, to be honest. Like it
It
just
was.
was like, now these guys are athletic. They're like, I'll give
Sure.
it. There were some cool spots and there was some good shit in the match, but from the get go, I was a little just pissed off because I was like, this does not even make logical sense that you would end the match at any point and not even have all six guys or whoever, whatever it was, seven. So I was kind of just perturbed at it to begin with. But yeah, you can. Sorry, I interrupted you there.
No, it's okay. I mean, I get what you're saying. Yes, these guys are all athletic. They're all talented. They're all superstars and stuff like that. But you know what? The NFL is full of a lot of superstars and stuff, but we're not going to decide the Super Bowl with a skills competition, right? I
Right.
mean, you actually want to have some logic to the match. You want to have some psychology. And there was none. There was none. And I
No.
mean, even Cesaro, that spot with Andrade looked stupid. It looked like it was a screw
Oh
up
my
as
god,
far as,
they were struggling. They were
and
like,
then
what for all that for that, and like you're just
for
like,
him
yeah, that
getting
was
dumped out on
bad.
his feet, right? You
Yeah,
know,
that was
I just,
bad. Well, I think that was
I
a
don't
fuck up. To be honest, I think that was screwed
yeah,
up somehow. Like anyway, we could micro kind of analyze the match
yeah.
a lot because it could
And
deserve
and
it.
I don't wanna do that.
But
So what
but
all I'm
I
gonna
will.
say is, I'm gonna
Yeah,
say the ending was so shitty. It
I
killed the
agree.
crowd.
I
It
agree.
killed the crowd. And
I
after
agree.
watching it over again, because I remember I said to you when I just saw the highlights, it's like, I could tell that was MJF just by his movements, but
Yeah, you did. You did.
when I watched it over again, it was clearly MJF. And why
Yeah.
didn't they here my thought process is like, okay, wait a second. Why didn't he unveil himself? Because that would have made the crowd so hot right at the beginning of your show.
Right.
Like,
Well,
you would
why
have
not
the
just
crowd
make him the
going
wild
nuts.
card? It was stupid. Like if he's the wild card, he's the wild card. Just make him the wild card. Like or the Joker or Ace, whatever the hell they call it. Like
And why would Stokely be going up on
it,
the
it
ladder
was
and getting the
just it
thing?
was just kind of silly and it was took so long to develop and I was just like this is and then the music thing and he came down and so I had convinced myself that it wasn't NJF because he looked bigger or he looked physically he looked a little different. I was like, okay, this is somebody mimicking MJF because they don't have him here and they're gonna feign that it's MJF and we won't see it for weeks or anyway. So I'll fully admit I was totally wrong on that and it was only because I couldn't tell it was him physically because he looked different and he is a little more shredded now after seeing him on Dynamite. So maybe that threw me off, but yeah, I just was so I was pissed off with that ending. It was just dumb. It was just dumb and like drawn out and like when you have a card that's going so long to begin with and you're gonna do all
Yeah.
that stuff and just yeah. Anyway, I'm getting a little angry talking about this match because it pissed me off.
And do you feel
And it
like it was
takes
kind
away from all the good shit that was in the match, you know what I mean?
I didn't find any good shit in the match. That's
Well,
the
I
worst
guess
part,
that's
yeah.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
fair.
It was like
I
a
just mean
pain,
I just mean the work the guys did, right? I mean,
yeah,
they
well,
put the work in.
it was like a painful end to an already brutal match, but
Yeah.
yeah, and to me, like, that was your return for MJF after the whole 3 months off and the
Yeah,
hottest angle that
especially
you
given how
possibly
they did
have.
it at the end, especially given what you were planning to do at the end of the night, which was even worse maybe. We'll get into that, but like anyway, yeah. I guess we've
Yeah,
beaten this dead horse, but
yeah,
yeah,
for
thumbs
sure.
down for me on that one. Machete down for sure cuz like I didn't enjoy that as a kickoff. I just didn't.
So then we rush to our next palate cleanser, and that is the trios championship. Because you know what? If there's one thing the Young Bucks and Kenny know, it's like the great places to spot themselves in the card, so they don't get any of the shit on them, right? So
Yeah.
they went because the crowd couldn't have been deader after that whole
Yeah.
MJF ending because the crowd didn't know it was MJF, and you could hear literally there was like a pin drop you could hear in that crowd. They're like confused, and that's
Yeah,
not
like
the
what the
way you
hell's
should
going
leave your
on?
crowd. You shouldn't have them that confused. But so they bring out these guys and they do every trick that's in the freaking book. My question is, how are the Young Bucks and Kenny faces? Actually, Kenny, you know what? I'll say this: he's actually kind of playing a face in this, but as far as the Young Bucks, they have changed nothing about themselves. They've changed none of their antics. They've
Yeah.
changed none of their gear or anything like that. They still have Brandon Cutler being a fool out there. How are they at all baby faces in this? And then Kenny has Don Callis with him, who is a
Yeah.
consummate heel. You know, so
Well,
I'm just confused with
I
that.
remember thinking in the match too to that point that they even started doing Healy stuff in the match. I was like, aren't they supposed to be babies? Like they even did like suckets or something like that. I don't remember what it was. It was something stupid, but they did some sort of heelish tactic, and I was just like, yeah. Anyway, it's AEW, so it doesn't really matter, I guess, because they'll I mean, just run with it either way. Because I really don't think I shouldn't say that because some of their stories they do, but it doesn't feel like most of the time they care who's a baby face or heel anymore.
Yeah, it really feels that way. Let
Yeah,
me
but
ask you, what did you feel was the most awkward part of this entire match?
oh my god, I know you're probably setting me up here, but
I am, but I figure you might have said it.
ah,
Yeah.
it was a long day at this point because I had already watched Clash of the Castle and then watching this pay per view. And so I'm trying to think. I remember the finish and being a
It's not the
really
finish. Not
no.
the
I just
finish.
remember the finish being really sort of convoluted as well. Um, but
I actually thought the finish was well done, to be quite
with
honest.
because well, I guess yeah, because Kenny just kind of jumped in to get the pin, right? Yeah.
Yep. Mhm.
Yeah, it's right because Hangman hit the yeah. Okay, cool.
Yep.
But yeah, I don't know. You got me on this one. I nothing stood out. Like look, thinking back in my brain right now, the finish I do remember that stood out.
Mhm.
There's nothing else that really stood out to me that was sort of memorable in this. But
Okay. So what I was leaning towards is the fact that Hangman Page is getting mad at his tag team partners for trying to win the match early on in the match.
I
So
don't
he
remember
literally,
that.
oh man, go back and watch it. He was getting upset with Johnny Hungy and Reynolds for actually putting the boots to Matt Jackson at one point. He kept like
Oh, right.
basically tagged himself in because he didn't want them hurting them.
To
And
like not
meanwhile,
beat him up or whatever. Yeah.
yeah, but meanwhile, he's beating up all of them in the match, so
Yeah.
it made no sense that way. Like, he looked like the ultimate wuss is what he looked like.
Yeah.
He's again
He
playing that. Yeah.
And well, he's being booked really shitty right now anyway, I think. But
Oh,
anyway,
yes.
just even after Dynamite now, you're just like, okay, what's going on? But yeah, fair enough. I do remember that now. I part of me going into this match was like, I just didn't like that team to begin with. Like, fuck off with the Dark Order stuff, honestly. You know what I mean? I'm just done with the Dark Order stuff. Like, I'm just Page does not fit with that team. Like there's not
No,
a
he doesn't.
anyway.
He doesn't at
That
all.
that was just sort of my thing on that. But yeah, I was like ho hum on this match. Like cool. We all knew who was gonna win, especially when it was Dark Order. I'm like, okay, throw Page in there all you want. We know it's the team EVPs winning this.
Yeah. I will s I will say this about the Dark Order. I was impressed with Johnny Hungy. He was
I,
fantastic in this
I've always
match.
been impressed, and he's pretty good. And Reynolds has actually impressed me a little bit more too with some of his in ring stuff. But yeah, I mean, yeah, agreed, totally agree. I mean, he's been on TV a lot more lately too in the last few months, so I think that helps. But agree.
Yeah.
I guess I'm just over the Dark Order because they're just a shell of the former self.
And how about the fact that the fans were going bananas for the Dark? They wanted them to win that match. They really
Yeah,
did. And they weren't too pleased with the Bucks and Kenny winning the titles at the end there. It felt like the blooms off the rose with these guys.
it might be. It might be.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's so hard to tell with these crowds and yeah. I'm getting all worked up because like the
Chicago's
AEW
Chicago's a notorious smart crowd too. So
it
yeah,
is, but like I would guarantee you 95% of those people in that crowd would say they hate WWE and don't watch WWE and all this stuff. So it's like it's hard to take some of that stuff seriously for me when they anyway. But it yeah, I know what you're saying. I think that's when I caught the heel stuff because I think they were playing up to the sort of crowd reaction as well.
mhm, mhm. Okay, well, overall, your feeling on that match?
It was it's average. It was in the middle. It
Yeah,
was yeah. We only because I knew they were going to win. So I mean, it didn't
yeah.
really matter what you did through that match. I mean, also looking at the run times, they got some of the most time on the pay per view.
I
So
know, I know.
like, go figure,
Crazy,
right? You knew that was going to
crazy.
happen too.
And keep in mind, this was your first of 3 trios matches of the
Oh, I
night.
know. I commented on that too. I was like, another one? Oh,
God. All right, so next we had, this barn burner, Jade versus Athena,
oh
and
God, this
I've
barn
got
burner. Yeah.
one takeaway from this match. Jade should have been cast as She-Hulk. She has more believability than the
Yeah.
CGI that they're using on that show. She
One.
really, yeah,
No,
she
sorry.
really
Go
could
ahead.
be. No, I'm saying Tony Khan missed the boat. He should have been pushing for her to get cast in that show.
Yeah. Well, my one takeaway is the women's roster is shitty. I mean, it's Athena does nothing for me now. I think she's been booked horrible. She looks horrible in her like this new like not she looks horrible, but like the way she's presented, she looks horrible. Jade is a star, and she's so much more a star than everybody else. It's making everybody else look really, really bad. And that
But
match was sloppy as shit, in my opinion.
yes, that match is brutal, and Jade needs to work on her selling. I agree. She is a star, and we've talked about this before. She'll be a star when she gets under the right tutelage and
Yeah,
gets the
true
right
enough.
training.
True
And
enough.
she's not going to be the star that that she could be in AEW. They need a performance center. I'm sorry, they need something,
Yeah.
or they need minor leagues, or they need something where she can go down there and learn the ropes. Pardon the pun, but she can go down there and do that. Um,
Well, and she's
and
locked in now. You can't put her on dark and stuff where she can wrestle all the time because she's
yeah,
37-0. So you can't
yeah,
do that. But I'm okay with her never being like the technical spot expert, you know what I mean? Because she is that presence and that star. But put her in there with people that aren't going to make her look bad too. Like that's what I mean. Like, and I even at some point was what's her name before
Ember
Athena?
Moon.
Ember. I was an Ember Moon fan at first in NXT. Now the character just went all over the place. And anyway, but man, oh man, it was just like it was hard to even try and enjoy that match. It was not
Mhm.
good.
I'm giving this one
Thankfully,
two.
thankfully it was freaking quick, but
Yeah, it was quick.
4 minutes quick.
I'm giving this 2 blades down,
2
but
blades down for sure.
this isn't
No,
my
no, I
show,
would
so
concur. I would concur. 2 machetes down for sure on that one.
from there, we got a brief CM Punk, promo outside with Ace Steel, and boy, was that ever foreshadowing something there, but, I'm sorry, but and I know I'm biased. I hate Punk, and I think there's good reason for that. But to me, that he does not come off. He doesn't pull off the working man promo. He's not
No.
Dusty Rhodes. Him mentioning all these hardworking people of Chicago. He's like an emo baby that is always crying and complaining about things. Now he's the working man's hero or something. No, sorry, that doesn't work. He's usually cocky. He's usually a braggart. So just keep him that way.
Yeah, no, you're right. He doesn't come off very likable. Neither does Ace Steel, which who is this
Mhm.
guy you're throwing and thrusting in front of my camera and on my TV now all of a sudden? But yeah, I agree. It's kind of and it was kind of it didn't add anything. Why are you doing like it's not dynamite? Why are you doing this in the parking? Anyway, I
Yeah.
yeah, it's a throwaway thing. But then we go
I don't
right
know.
into no, go
We
ahead.
go right
Sorry.
into our second,
Yeah.
trios match of the night.
Which
And
again, in my opinion, was a wasted match. One, you got a
yeah,
tag team on the in this match that doesn't even work for the company when you got dozens of tag teams that aren't getting any exposure. And you've got your TNT champion who's doing shit all in this match. And you've got the best tag team on your roster in this team, all for a nothing match. It's just ugh. I know there was a ton of matches, but you could have had 3 separate matches with all these people involved. Not Motor City Machine Guns. No offense to them, and I've never been a big fan, but they're great. I know that they're good, but they just don't work there. You don't go there, as Bianca says, right? Like you don't go here. So why are you even on this pay per view? It was just silly. To me, it's just dumb. You know what I mean? Like, did that mess with you too? Like, why is this match even happening?
well, we talked about this, in the preview show, and to me, well, I'm gonna say this, up until this point, they didn't have much competition, but up until this point, this was the match of the night in my eyes. It actually was there was great psychology. It
Well,
was
it's
old
FTR, yeah. So that's
Not
always going to
just
be up there.
FTR though, Jay Lethal, give
Well,
credit to Jay
true,
Lethal, and the
true.
Machine Guns. I know they're everybody thinks they're spot monkeys, but they use psychology in their matches. The Machine Guns, remember, they've been playing face
They're
the whole
far
time.
less spot monkeys than
Yeah,
half the AEW
and the
roster. I mean,
Bucks,
they're yeah.
and the Bucks,
I
right?
love to be fair, I you would think based on that comment that I don't like Saban and shit, what's his name?
Alex Shelley.
Shelly. I actually like them a lot. And in Impact, they were doing singles runs, which was really good. So I am fans of both of those guys. It's just it pissed me off that you have so many other tag teams that could be in that match. Why are you bringing those guys in for no reason? Like it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
But
Well, to
anyway,
me, what they should have done is I would have been down hard for FTR versus the Machine Guns for the ROH titles.
Yes, that
They
would
would have
make
put
a lot
on.
more sense.
Think about it, you've got literally the Andersons versus the Rock and Roll Express right
Yeah.
there in that match.
Oh,
Like,
that would have been a great match.
and FDR would have been motivated by that match. That would have been fantastic.
Yeah.
And then you still could have went with Lethal versus Wardlow because they're already been feuding. I know you would have saw the match again, but sure, throw it on the card if you want to get
You know
Wardlow
why they
over.
didn't do that match, the FTR versus Machine Guns or FTR versus anybody else? Because it would overshadow the tag title match. That's why they didn't do it. And we all know that's true.
Yeah, it would have.
They didn't give FTR a tag match because it would overshadow the actual tag title match. I'm sorry, it
I,
would.
I think those two teams might have ended up putting on one of the match of the year candidates
Yeah,
because
agreed.
they would have been such a nice diametrically opposed styles. I'm telling you, it would have been the Andersons against the Rock and Roll Express or the Midnight Express versus the Rock and Roll Express.
Yeah.
It would have been fantastic, but I think they missed out on. But I will say, like I said, it was great psychology. You knew who the baby faces were. You knew who the heels were. It made sense. The only thing I will shit on with this match, I don't like to shit on FDR, but I will, is the whole thing with the daughter at the end. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
If we're gonna
Yeah.
call out the Dark Order and have a -1 and all that stuff, then we gotta call out, the fact that we had that
Well, it was
segment
at the
after.
beginning of the match too. She came out in the entrance, and yeah, I know there's like built-in storyline with the fight like a 8-year-old girl or whatever, but
Yep.
I agree. Like,
You could just have
I
Dax
think
talking
it's
to the
not as
camera
bad.
and,
It's not as bad as the -1 stuff, and but yeah, I get it. I
he
get it. I
she
mean,
pinned she
it
pinned
is his
Sanjay
daughter.
Dutt. She pinned Sanjay Dutt.
Well, fair. That's a
And
good point.
they counted 3 on that, so it's
Yeah, that
like
which made no sense either. It's not a fucking match. Why is he
I know.
counting?
I
Anyway,
know,
but yes, agreed. That was an enjoyable match. I still think they're wasting Wardlow, especially after watching Dynamite already last night. It's like, what the hell are you doing with Wardlow? But anyway, that's a whole other conversation we'll get into in the audio show
Yep.
later this week.
Okay. So let's move along. So the match that I was really looking forward to, and I know a lot of people are going to say, "Boy, that was a dud," and I'm gonna say no, that was not a dud. It was a good, solid match that obviously was cut for time or
Yeah,
something happened
it
where
was only 5 minutes.
somebody got hurt. I don't know if Ricky Starks was injured or something like that, but up until it ended so abruptly, which in the end I guess is not too bad for Hobbs because it made him look like a monster, but. It was an old again, I'll go back. It was an old school match with psychology. They were building Hobbs up to be this dominant monster. Starks was battling from underneath. They worked well together, but then all of a sudden you just had that very quick ending to it, which I was
Yeah.
really surprised by what happened there. But I feel like there must have been an injury involved or something.
Yeah, yeah, I mean, you're on to something. I didn't hear about it after the fact, but probably. I guess I was torn on that one because I do like Hobbs, but I like Starks more. But I don't get on the Starks like we've talked about this before. Like I don't think he's the second coming of The Rock or anything like that. But the guy's super uber talented. I hated the new gear. I'm not gonna lie, I didn't like the new gear, but um I thought the wrong man won. I guess I mean if I'm like I thought you already made Hobbs look like a million bucks with like the turn and all the shit he's been doing, and he's been just dummying guys on Rampage and stuff. So Starks needed the win, man. Like he lost. He was the one booted out and all that. Anyway, I just thought Starks needed that win.
Yeah, it would have been okay if Hobbs got the win if the match was like 15 minutes and
Yes, or
Starks
if it
was
was like a shadier win and
yeah,
he
yeah.
kind of did some shenanigans or something. Yeah, that was my only beef with it, but I'm okay with the match otherwise. And that they worked well together, but it was really fast, obviously 5 minutes. But
It really felt like there was a call on the fly and they ended it
yeah,
quickly
you're
or
not
something
wrong.
like that. But anyways, I still think there's another match available for those guys. It's going to be really good, and I'm looking forward to that. And again, I think both are going to be really big players. Definitely for AEW, but in the future, I could see them in other places doing some good stuff too.
No, for sure.
All right, so
All right,
now we
what do we got
go.
next?
I'm telling you, before we go to the image, I'm going to say this match really surprised me for many reasons. Excuse me. They they had a fantastic match, and here it is, man. Swerving Our Glory versus the Acclaimed. And
Yep.
I was not looking forward to this match. Nothing against the Acclaimed, but there just was no heat for this match going into it. and I'm not a Keith Lee or Swerve fan either. And I'm not going to say probably the weakest point of this match for me was Keith Lee,
Yeah.
because I just don't get Keith Lee myself. I'm sorry, I just don't get this character. It just doesn't he doesn't work for me, but Swerve was fantastic in
Yeah.
this match. He played up the heel side of things because he could tell the crowd was turning. The Acclaimed, they are
They're
over.
so on fire too. Yeah.
Holy God. And then Billy Gunn just added that nice little aspect to it as well.
No, I agree with everything. I have nothing really more to add. The only point I wanted to make is like I actually really enjoyed watching throughout the match the turn, right? I mean, you could just see it coming. They both played it up. You're right, Swerve more than Lee, I think. Lee looks out of shape, man, like really out of shape. Like
Yeah,
he and it's part of his character, I guess, but he almost looked like he was lumbering in there, man. Like it was like
he did.
ugh. Anyway, that's a sort of a moot point, but yeah, I thought they did a great job, and kudos to Swerve for really leaning into the heel stuff, right? Like really leaning into it. And we're
Even in the
getting
post-match,
yeah,
scrum,
exactly.
same thing, yeah.
Yeah, and
I don't feel like Keith Lee turned heel, but I felt
no,
like
I was just
Swerve
gonna
did.
say, like, it was definitely just a Swerve thing. So much so, and again, we're doing a review of the pay-per-view, but so much so that on Dynamite, Lee didn't even come out, but Swerve did, and Swerve was full on heel on Dynamite,
Mhm,
and like there was no
mhm,
Lee, so that was just kind of weird. Um, but yeah, the claim is so cool. I just sort of wish they were like tweeners. I don't want them to be super baby
mhm.
faces, but I guess they're over, so you got to kind of run with it.
Yeah,
But yeah, I do love Bowens and I do love Caster. Caster's clearly not to the level of Bowens for in ring stuff, but I think they work so well together and they have such a good style. Um, I've never been a Swerve guy either, but he sold me a little bit more on that pay per view for sure. He's pretty athletic guy too, and but got it too with that heel stuff. So yeah, I thought it was a great match too. And would have liked to see Acclaim win it, but maybe they're gonna take it in this rematch coming up here, and that'd be kind of cool too. But yeah, overall, I thought it was pretty good outing. And they gave it a lot of time too. I'm looking here on the Wikipedia's, and it's 22 minutes, so decent amount of time. It didn't feel like a drawn out match, though. I guess that's sort of what I was getting at.
yeah,
It was
I,
fast paced. It was well paced anyway.
no, it was a great tag team match, and,
Yeah,
I think they definitely need to run with this whole heel side of Lee and Swerve because really they have no heat, they have no nothing, like,
yeah.
they won the titles kind of weird in the first place,
And
it
they
was
were
just to get
thrown
the
together tag team anyway.
it was just to get the titles off the Bucks so they can do
Yeah.
this trios thing with, Kenny, so but you know what? Honestly, because of the fact they have no heat or anything like that, I think they should have made a call on the fly, and I think they should have gave the belts to Acclaim. Give it to the team
Yeah.
that's over, you know?
Yeah, would have been kind of cool to see.
And then you could
But
have a true heel turn, and they beat the living hell out of the Acclaim for after the
after the
loss.
fact, yeah, after the fact.
Mm, yeah.
Yeah, I will say this to your point. I wasn't super into the sort of the feud before him, but I'm definitely into it now. It's one of the more enjoyable pieces now on storyline stuff.
Yeah, and again, the crowd was
Yeah,
just
it was
fantastic for
great.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Okay, next up, we had sorry, let's move on here. Next up, we had, yes, the women's four-way for the AEW Interim Women's World Championship, or is it?
Or is it? Bum bum bum. We'll just assume it is still. Although
Well,
on Dynamite they still called it interim, so we'll see about that.
there
But
is, lots and lots of
yes,
rumors floating around there. Boy,
so much
oh
drama.
boy.
I don't even think it's rumors anymore. Isn't anyway, we're getting ahead of ourselves, but
We're getting ahead of ourselves,
I'm
yeah.
pretty sure Rose is gone now, but anyway.
Well, we'll see what
Um
happens there, but
yeah.
yeah, your,
Give me
impressions on this match?
yeah. I wasn't super jazzed getting into it, but I mean I said this in our show before we were talking about it, preview show. I wasn't super into any of the matches, I guess, but I guess I will say this, and maybe I'm misremembering the match because I was probably getting really late at this point. But I remember this match being somewhat sloppy as well and not sort of flowing all that well. And the stuff with Hater and Britt was cool. Like that was cool kind of dynamic that they added to that. Um, but I just don't remember anything really vividly standing out that I loved in this match. And yeah, I don't know. You kind of knew Tony Storm was going to win too, I guess.
Mhm. I to me, a couple of points I took out of this. One, Jamie Hayter is a star, and
Yeah.
she is very over with that crowd, and she's impressive, if you ask me.
She's physical too. Like she's like a Sheamus.
Yes, yeah. Um, Sheeta felt like one of these things was not like the other,
Am
and
I
it was
misremembering that though? Like did it feel a little bit untidy? You know what I mean? Like
it did at points,
yeah.
definitely. There was some misses at some points, and like I say, Sheeta just didn't seem to go. And then it was so weird, them trying to pull her out of the match there because of that move up on the ramp, and meanwhile she comes back out in like 10 seconds with two kendo
Yeah.
sticks. I mean, it was kind of a useless moment, to be quite honest, and made her look weak, to be quite honest. And
Yeah,
then
fair point.
the other thing I found was the crowd was completely burnt out for this match. I think they all knew that Tony Storm was going over. I think they either felt Tony Storm was going over or it was going to be Britt again. They didn't want Britt to win.
Yeah.
Um, really the person that they wanted to win was Hayter, to be honest with you. And I think that tag team match just burnt them out too because they
Yeah,
were
fair
so
enough.
on fire for that match. So honestly, I felt like the match wasn't too bad. I mean, I'm not a big fan of all these multi-person matches. I'd love to just see a singles match for the title. That would be nice, but whatever. I mean,
Yeah.
it's AEW. You're going to get those multi-person
No, fair
matches.
enough. And I will say the dynamic they added with Hater and Britt was kind of cool, and that was kind of a nice piece because you're right. A Hater was definitely getting over in that match too. She's already been on a trajectory up anyway, but um, yeah, that was pretty clear in the crowd reaction. But yeah, I just don't remember it being. I don't remember loving it, but I mean, I'm not saying it was a terrible match. I just don't remember it being anything memorable.
Yeah. Okay, let's move on to the next match. This is where I caught it live, and we have Jungle Boy Jack Perry versus Christian Cage. And I'll mark this in the column of boy, we did a whole lot of things that we didn't need to do to get to the end point with this match, didn't we?
Well, I remember shaking my fist at the in the air very aggressively after this because I was like, "What the hell was the point of the Luchasaurus stuff then? Like,
Yep.
what the hell was it?
Yep.
Like, what?" Like, I remember it's like being like, "What the fuck? Like, what is?" Uh, and to do here's my other big beef with this match. Why would you do it on a pay per view? Why would you give this squash match on a pay per view? Like, that's especially because it didn't even feel like it wasn't like this 10-minute segment where they just beat the shit out of him and destroyed him and bloodied him. And it was maybe 5 minutes of a beatdown, but it didn't even feel that. It felt really quick. You get the hug at the end with Christian and which, oh, I love you, man, and all that stuff. It's like, I don't know. Yeah, I'm with you. It just felt wrong. I don't know what it is about it. This one, like to me, you could have accomplished this several times over on Rampage or Dynamite if that's what you were gonna do. Like, why put it on a paid event
You know what? This would have made perfect sense if they hadn't turned Luchasaurus 2 times in this
already?
feud already,
Already,
yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If
No,
all
fair point.
along
Fair point.
if all along here's where you go. Okay, if we do it AEW style, just have Luchasaurus accompanying Jungle Boy, and for no reason at all, he turns on him right here. It would
Yeah.
make no sense, but at least it wouldn't be the 3rd turn in a month with
In a
this.
month. Yeah.
Or what you also could have done, which would have made more sense, is have Luchasaurus disappear for a little while this whole Jungle Boy Christian Cage thing comes on to the point where people are like, well, where's Luchasaurus at? And where's he stand in this matter and all this stuff? And then he makes his final entrance when he's supposed to be with Jungle Boy, comes out behind him like he did in all black, and
Yeah.
then he does that same thing to him. That might have made a bit more sense, but I don't know. I'm just a lowly podcaster. I don't have any clue about booking of all this stuff.
I will say this. I am excited to see where they take Jack Perry because it does seem like they're really emphasizing the Jack Perry stuff and like they're maybe shifting away from the Jungle Boy thing. And if that's the
Oh, they
case,
have
then
to. They have
yeah,
to.
and agreed. And I'm okay with and I'm sort of up for that. I'm into that if that's where they're gonna go. And he cut a promo on Dynamite after the fact and he was way more aggressive and all that stuff. So I'm into that. But the fact that a man playing a dinosaur is still involved in this angle means that I'm never gonna really take it that serious, I guess. But Christian's
A
great, and
college educated dinosaur.
yeah, but like it's I feel bad even saying that because Christian's so good and he makes kind of lemonade out of lemons or whatever you want to say, right? But I just was kind of angry. I was like, "Why you're wasting my time with this shit when it could have been on Dynamite, right?" You know what I mean? Or like not. Anyway, it seemed forced in there. But you're right. I mean, it would have been better if you hadn't already done it 3 weeks ago.
The good news is our review of the match lasted longer than the match did.
Fair enough. 20 seconds officially for anyone wanting to know was the match time.
In the end, I won't give it a blade down. I would call it, we got to the end. It just took
Yeah,
us a very long and winding path to get there.
agreed. Agreed. Well, we don't even have a match to review really because there was no match.
No, no. Well, at least Aubrey got to get in that picture for a little bit.
Oh my
She was
god.
really working that corner with Jack Barry. Yeah.
Do not get me started on Aubrey.
Well, I can continue with her because she was involved in this next match.
Oh, I was dreading having to talk about this match because it saddens me. It hurts my heart to say what I'm going to say, but um, I, Jericho's got to go. He's got to
Uh,
go.
yeah,
He's just got
Jericho's.
to go.
I know
I
he's your
love
boy.
him.
He's your
I
boy.
know,
Yeah.
and I do love him, and he's Fozzy and everything to me. But like, he's just that was you can, especially when you're in there with a guy like Bryan, like Danielson, like, and if it was still noticeably painful to watch that match, then I'm sorry. Like Jericho's had the run that he needed. Like anyway, my morals, the story of that match was I was one surprised Jericho won. I didn't think he needed the win at all, and if anything, Danielson should have probably won.
Jericho always needs to win.
Yes, agreed. But two, holy shit, it was like really hard to watch that match at some points, just because like the slop. Anyway, I don't even want to say sloppiness. It's just like Jericho is just he doesn't have it anymore, and he should just not be wrestling anymore, really, full time, at least in my opinion. But
Jericho's
maybe I'm
looks
just being
like
hypercritical.
no, he looks like a 50-year-old Jericho for
Yeah,
what he is, right? Yeah.
yeah. To be fair, he looks great, and he like lost a lot of weight, and so he's looks the part, and he's got the Lionheart thing going and all that stuff. I didn't enjoy that match because I was like cringing a lot of the time. You know what I mean?
Mm.
And it wasn't
No,
Danielson's fault, I don't think, but
no, I agree. Danielson tried his best.
yeah.
My big thing with watching Jericho now is I find I'm distracted the whole match, wondering if his pants are going to fall down.
Yes, that was quite. He pulled them up several times, didn't he?
Every match, he's fiddling with his pants.
Oh
It's
god.
really distracting. It's
At
so
least he got rid of
and
the Judas though. He got rid of the Judas song.
finally
Yeah,
he did. He finally took our advice because
yeah.
again,
He listened to
lowly
the show, I think.
podcasters,
He listened to the show.
apparently he does. He listens to everything because he's always calling out everybody. You know, so
Yeah, this match was sort of tough to watch for me because it was like, oh, I love Jericho so friggin' much, but it was just yeah, the combination of him winning and the state of the match, and they even like this is one talk about audibles. They should have called an audible on this really in the middle of the matches. Of like let's take it home because 23 minutes for that match, it was too long. It was too long.
yeah.
Anyway, I don't know
I'll
what more
just
we
say
can say on that.
and honestly, that Judas effect at the very end was pretty weak.
Yeah.
He
But
he
the thing with that is, how are you supposed to sell that really? Like, I mean, you like unless he. So I'm saying that and agreeing with you in that, like, it's kind of a dumb finish because there's a lot of I don't. I'm not a big fan of, what's the right word? Like, um, punch and kick finishes anyway because I think they're hard to sell, and especially as a finish type move, which we're getting a lot of them in 2022. But that one especially, man, like the way he does it, and if anything, Otis is doing it better. Have you been catching Otis doing that
oh
spinning elbow? That looks
yes.
friggin' awesome.
Mhm,
But he's doing
mhm.
that better than Jerry. Anyway, I don't love that as his finish, but you're right. It was not great.
Yeah, for
It just
sure.
was par for the course for that match because it didn't look good. None of it did.
Mm. All right, let's continue our slog through this pay-per-view. We seem so high on it.
People are going to be totally. We got some heat after this for sure because we're not being too kind. But
Hey, you know what? I'm being honest though. Like I said, I agree. Like it's typical AEW. There's a couple of great things, a couple of weird things, and then there's a lot of bad things, and that's typical
yeah,
with AEW lately. I find like the FTR match that was great. Uh, the acclaimed tag team match
yeah,
that
you're
was
right.
great.
You're right. And
Hobbs and Starks.
the trios match did have its moments. I'll give you that.
Yeah, yeah. It actually for a trios match, it was entertaining. Let's put
Yeah.
it that way. the Hobbs and Stark thing that got a little weird, but it was great up until then. But the rest of the stuff that's been bad
Yeah.
has just been just brutal, you know. And so we'll go into this next
Yeah. Speaking of trios,
yeah, our third trios match of the night because you
yeah,
know what? We just don't. We need a lot of trios
you can never have too many. I'm
because
going to be
they're the most important titles on the
yes,
roster right now,
exactly.
and I'm not sure
I
why. What would be the reason for that?
no, it wouldn't happen to be who's in the team, but I'm gonna be completely honest with this. I think I forgot this whole match because I don't remember anything about this match. Like, was it not that memorable, or was I maybe did I fall asleep in this match? Maybe I did. I don't know. But I
You've been
kind of
known to pass out during a pay
yeah,
per
that's
view.
true. I do I do think I remember Darby going over, right? Darby went over on this one?
I believe it was. Well, we knew the House of Black wasn't winning because they don't
Yeah.
win anything.
Well,
The
also
worst.
and now Malachi's got his release, so,
Yeah.
um, but yeah, I don't know, fill me in on this one because I don't nothing's standing out on it.
Well, you had a botched finish with the ending with Malachi and Sting, where it was supposed to be black mist into Malachi's face, but I don't remember seeing any mist actually come out of Sting's mouth for that. Um, as usual, Buddy Murphy or Buddy Matthews, I guess
Buddy Matthews, yeah.
Buddy Matthews is awesome. I love that guy. Malachi, he it's understandable. He didn't seem too motivated this match, and there's understandable why. And of course, then
Yeah,
there's the heat of him taking the bow after the match was over and blowing the kisses or whatever to the crowd to say, I'm done. I'm Gandhi."
yeah.
I guess that was his DX moment, or what was it? The
Curtain
MSG
call.
moment, curtain
Curtain
call. That was
call.
his curtain call
Mm.
there. Brody King is like, I don't know. I'm still trying to get sold on this guy. He's like
I
a
am a Brody King fan, I will say that. I did like him in Ring of Honor only because he's a big dude who can go. You have to admit, he can go, he's pretty quick, he's agile. I'm a big fan of, like, the tattooed look anyway. He's got
he's losing to all these people. Like that's,
oh,
I
look,
guess, what
don't get me wrong. His booking has been atrocious, but I like Brody King, the athlete and the look and the character and the feel. And I actually was I'm sad because I don't know where they're going to take it. Maybe Brody King leads the House of Black now, but I was into that group. Like I thought they had potential to be a really really cool stable. And again, to your point, typical booking, they never booked them properly, in that they should
no,
have been just a
it should have
dominant
been.
stable. But yeah, sorry, I know I interjected there, but
No,
I
no,
am a
that's
big
fine.
Brody
That's
King
fine.
fan. I do like Brody.
No,
I hope he sticks around and gets booked properly.
yeah. The only other thing I was going to say, Miro. I'm just glad to see Miro on
Yeah, fair
anything.
enough.
Miro
Fair
still
enough.
looks fantastic.
Although I was hoping he was gonna come back to home to Triple H, but anyway,
He might.
so be
You
it.
never know. You never
Yeah,
know.
I think he's got an extension or something, but
Yeah. Well, he'll just get his way out of the contract too.
yeah, true enough. Seems to be the case.
Anyways, it just goes to show this match really was nothing memorable for us, and it was
Right, fair
filler.
enough.
It was
Fair
filler in
enough.
between, the quasi main event and then the
The main
true
event.
main event.
Yeah.
Because why not have like a long title match between Moxie and Punk after Moxie just kicked CM Punk's ass, and
Interest yeah.
beat him
To
with
that
two
point,
suplexes, and so let's
to
do
that
it.
point, did you catch the Jim Ross tweet where he
Yeah,
said
oh
even
yeah,
Jim Ross was tweeting against his own company saying AEW really has to work on the pay-per-view logic. There's several holes or whatever. So it's like, yeah.
I'm not sure if you follow our Facebook page, Jay, but we have a Facebook page, and I actually put that tweet up on the Facebook page
Yeah.
there. So
Uh, called me
I
out
know you're
on it.
not down on the
Called me
socials.
out. I literally don't. I do not open Facebook anymore. I've sort of veered away from it. But fair point. I should have saw that. But yeah, I just again, it's hard to get into. We didn't even talk about this match in our preview because it wasn't even on the card at that point, right?
Right,
That's how kind
because
of silly the booking's
they
been on this.
blew
But
their wad. They blew their
yeah,
wad, they just put it on
yeah.
free
What
TV,
did
and
you
then
think of the two guys, Phil and I don't even know Moxie's real name, but going at it in the ring? Like, did you enjoy the match at all?
I have trouble enjoying a CM Punk match at
Yeah.
all. I'm sorry. I'm so down on him, and honestly, I'm down on Mox too. And I said it in the preview. I used to be a huge Dean Ambrose fan, but I'm
Yeah.
really down on the. He's playing a character named John Moxley. It feels like right now, but
Especially this company savior, John Moxley, is yeah, like that's kind of stomach curdling to be honest.
it's I don't know, yeah. I think if this match had happened on its own without that whole situation on Dynamite, yeah, this would have been a pretty decent match. But
Yeah.
what happened,
It
Mox?
was only 10 days removed. Like, how are we supposed to forget that?
Yeah, and you kicked the living shit out of CM Punk just
Yeah.
10 days ago, and then all of a sudden you almost lost in the same amount of time to begin the match, and
And very little selling of the ankle, really. Like,
yeah,
Punk didn't really even barely sold the ankle stuff.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I thought it was okay. Like, I do remember sort of perking back up for this match, and I don't know. It was okay, I guess. Maybe what we thought it was gonna be, maybe.
Yeah, I think honestly, I would have gave it a better review if the match didn't happen on Dynamite
Right.
the 10 days
10 days
before.
10 days before, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So that's I think what really got me. And then, of course, after it's over, we get the big unmasking. Who do we get? Our
Yeah.
boy MJF. What'd you think about that?
I mean, it was cool to see him, but I thought it was horrendously done. I mean, he didn't say a damn word. He didn't get in the ring. They didn't add
Yep.
any sort of angle. They didn't have a schmoz with anybody. He didn't get a mic. Like, so again, at the end of the day, I was disappointed because it felt not finished. It was like a half painted picture. You know what I mean? Like you okay, you got me, and now finish me. You know what I mean? Like give him a mic at least, for Christ's sakes.
And oh, by the
Yeah.
way, after everything that happened after the show went off the air, anybody even talking
No,
about
that's the worst part,
MJF
yeah.
now?
Yeah, Dynamite, they kind of recouped it with Dynamite, but yeah, you're right. I just yeah, the whole MJF stuff I think was mishandled, to be honest. Completely mishandled.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you, and it continues on. Like we'll see what happens, but
Yeah.
I just feel
Wow.
once again, there you go. CM Punk still has to steal the spotlight, even after this whole event was over. Where obviously the whole event is painted around. You had at the very beginning, you had MJF, and at the very end, you had MJF. So you're bookending your pay per view with MJF. So who is this pay per view about?
Yeah.
MJF, right? But who did it become about? CM Punk, who, by the way, now it sounds like is going to be out for the next 8 months because of injury, because of his little.
Should have been fired, to be honest.
He
Let's be
should have
real.
been fired. Yeah, he
Should have
should
been
have been
fired.
fired. But
We'll
it's
get into that. We'll get into our hot takes on that for sure. But
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
I totally fully agree. But I mean, I think we all, well, some of us knew that was going to be the case. Like, I don't know. In some way, I don't blame Punk because it's just Tony's booking. Like that, you could have presented MJF a shit ton better than you did. That's my only point.
They could have, but Punk could have helped by not stealing the
Well,
spotlight from him.
yeah, but that was after, like, that was after the show and not part on TV or anything like that, right? Technically,
Mhm.
right? I'm just saying, like, on screen, part of the story stuff, like, as scripted, Punk didn't really do anything. It was just straight up how they mishandled the presentation of MJF, right?
Mhm.
If anything, Punk should have done something on, like, he just beat Mox, he
Yeah.
just won the title. Now you have some guy showing you up. You should be talking, like, you should have talked shit about him, or they should have had a battle on the mic or something. You know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
anyway, it just seemed like a letdown. Like last year, we had Danielson debut and he cut a
Yeah.
promo and all that stuff, right? And it just seemed like a bunch of letdowns that night.
Well, didn't you have both Cole and Danielson?
Yes, but I think the ending of the show, I'm pretty sure if I remember, was Danielson sort of coming out and he cut a promo and anyway.
No, I guess what I'm alluding to is once again as an example of Tony stuffing way too much
Oh yeah,
into
fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah.
Cole debuts and just gets the legs cut right out from under him by Danielson
The
coming out.
half or 2 hours later. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I why didn't you just save the unmasking until Dynamite?
Well, yeah, true. True. And yeah, he cashes in his chip or whatever. Or that's not a cash in, I know, but like yeah, anyway.
I know.
In my opinion,
Yeah.
you didn't need to do a disguised. Like
Yeah.
if he's the Joker, he's the Joker.
Yeah.
So be it. Like you don't need to explain that anymore. He is the Joker. That's what a Joker spot is for. His returns or debuts or whatever, right?
So
So he is the
and
Joker.
let's go with wrestling logic here now again. Okay, I know we're going long, but this is involved with it. So so there's two I guess, scenarios here. So one, Tony Khan signed as a Joker for one of his biggest events of the year. Some unknown mask guy, that we don't
Yeah.
have any clue who he is, and that's who we make the Joker, and we're going to book to win the match. So you go with that scenario, or by the fact that you heard the voicemail being played at the end of the show, the voicemail to MJF where Khan is
Yeah.
begging him to come back. Then I guess Tony's in cahoots with MJF because he booked him to win that and booked
Right.
that whole scenario with MJF. So now
After the fact.
is Khan now evil Khan?
Well, fair enough.
Like,
And
again,
it didn't
there's no logic to
no,
this.
there isn't, and it didn't wrap up the supposed work, right?
Yeah.
So it was like promo in the ring happens, he goes away for months, and now All Out happens. There was no connective tissue there, right? Like anyway, apart from the voicemail, I guess. But yeah, I don't know. I guess I'm just sort of overly, what's it, bullish or bearish? What's the other? Is bullish good? Bullish is good, right?
Mhm.
I'm bearish. Is that a word?
Sure.
Isn't it? Isn't it bull or I don't know,
Bulls and
whatever.
Bears, yeah.
Bulls and Bears. But like I'm just a little bit down, I guess, on AEWs right now. And for anybody else who's gonna put in the comments, oh, you guys just hate AEW. No, I actually watch every week and pay attention, and I'm genuinely and generally, I should say, enjoy their product. But this has been bad. It's been unequivocally bad the last few weeks. Yes, there's some good mix in there, but it's been bad. Like, just if you don't admit that, then you're not being honest.
I'm gonna make an argument. I know everybody will say, "Oh, you just hate CM Punk," but I feel like the product's been bad ever since he came on board.
It was
Aside
hot
from
for a
It's
bit though.
I was
It
just
was
about to
hot
say,
for a bit.
aside for the first month of him being
Yeah.
back but that was like the post,
Yeah, that's true.
orgasm is
Yeah.
cigarette that they were having, but after that wore off of his return, it's been bad. It's
Yeah.
been
Okay, let's save some of this vitriol
yeah,
for the show later this week because
no, I
we got
hear you,
lots
I
more
hear
to
you.
talk about.
I did wanna ask one more question of you there. So remember Moxley was the one supposedly who made all these changes and wanted to have it so that,
Yeah,
he looks strong coming into the pay-per-view.
could be
How strong
undisputed champ.
How strong does he look now after he gets his ass beat by, Punk, who he supposedly was able to beat the living hell out of in 3 minutes,
Yeah.
and
Oh, I don't
so how
disagree,
does Moxley come out of this looking
especially given the current scenario where the belt was dropped, right? So, yeah.
yeah,
No, you're right. Yeah. I
again, logic holds that I can drive a truck through
and again, we'll I said again a lot there, but we'll get into this in the show coming up this week, but you can't let guys get away with that. Like Tony's either the boss or he's not. So, unless Mox has something written into his contract like Hogan or something, you say no. I don't
Yeah,
care if you think this doesn't make you look good. It doesn't work logically.
doesn't work for me, brother.
Done.
Yeah,
Right?
mhm,
Done. Yeah, and I doubt any of them have that written into their contracts, right? You know what I mean? Anyway.
well, your hockey mask, what'd you give the hockey mask for this?
Uh given that there was some good on it, I would say 2.5.
Alright,
2.5 out of
alright.
5.
I figured you were gonna say that, you AEW lover.
Son of a bitch.
I
No, I'd
will
say
s
2.5 out of 5.
I will say the name of this pay-per-view is appropriate because I think I'm all out on AEW now, so
Until next week.
yeah. No, my friend, I think
That's
you might be
fine.
doing
That's
the
fine. You
reviews
know
on
what? It's
AEW.
all good. It's all good. You can read the dirt sheet reviews and give your take on it after the fact.
Don't worry, I just have to look at Twitter. I'll know everything that's going
Yeah,
on
exactly.
because they don't
Well,
shut
this
up
was
about it.
fun. This was
Yeah,
fun. Thanks for joining me on this one. It's nice to do it with the two talking heads instead of my stupid talking head.
for sure. Well, and we appreciate everybody that's been along for the ride. We ask you that, make sure that you subscribe, that you leave a comment. If you're listening to this on the audio version, we ask that you would please if you want, leave us a 5-star review on Apple or on any podcast app that you want, because it certainly helps us get discovered more. It helps the metrics, the algorithms, all that good stuff. So feel free. But leave your comments down below here on YouTube and let us know what was your thoughts on this pay per view. What's your thoughts on AEW? Do you think it's in trouble? You still loving what's going on? What was your favorite match tonight? Just all that stuff. We're interested in hearing. But please reach out and let us know. We don't care if you want to call us AEW haters or you want to call us WWE lovers, whatever. We're wrestling fans and we want to enjoy good wrestling. And right now, it's kind of hard to enjoy what's on AEW, but
Agreed.
there's certainly some good stuff out on other places. But thank you very much, Jay, for allowing me to come on Nightmare Reviews. Thank you very much to the listeners, and I'll use my traditional saying and say for Jay Myers, this is BC Hunter saying that we are out of here.